Eisenhower and the Aliens. Former U.S. President had 3 secret meetings with extraterrestrials. Former American President Dwight D. Eisenhower had 3 secret meetings with aliens from another planet. The 34th President of the United States met the extraterrestrials at a remote airbase in New Mexico in 1954, according to lecturer and author Timothy Good. Eisenhower and other FBI officials are said to have organized the showdown with the space creatures by sending out telepathic messages. The 2 parties finally met up on 3 separate occasions at the Holloman Air Force Base, and there were many witnesses. Speaking on Frank Skinner's BBC Two Current Affairs show Opinionated, he said that governments around the world have been in regular contact with aliens for many decades. Aliens have made both formal and informal contact with thousands of people throughout the world from all walks of life, he added. Asked why the aliens don't go to somebody important like Barack Obama, he said, "Well, certainly I can tell you that in 1954, President Eisenhower had 3 encounters, set up meetings with aliens, which took place at certain Air Force bases including Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico." He added that there were many witnesses. Eisenhower, who was president from 1953 to 1961, is known to have had a strong belief in life on other planets. His meeting with the cosmic life forms is said to have taken place while officials were told that he was on vacation in Palm Springs, California, in February 1954. The initial meeting is supposed to have taken place with aliens who were Nordic in appearance, but the agreement was eventually signed with a race called Alien Greys. Mr. Good added, "We know that up to 90% of all UFO reports can be explained in conventional terms. However, I would say millions of people worldwide have actually seen the real thing." According to classified documents released by the Ministry of Defense in 2010, Winston Churchill may have ordered a UFO sighting to be kept secret. The Eisenhower alien meetings are just the tip of the iceberg. On 11th of December 1984, a little-known television producer and UFO researcher, Jamie Chandra, found an envelope left for him. The package had no return address, but did contain copies of documents that would change people's perception of the 20th century and the events that might have actually shaped it. The documents themselves were stored on 2 rolls of 35mm film. The first one Chandra examined was labeled Top Secret, Magic Eyes Only. The title was even more intriguing, Briefing Document. Majestic 12, prepared for President-elect Dwight D. Eisenhower. The top secret writings appeared to reveal the known presence of extraterrestrials here on Earth. The Majestic 12 group were a collection of top scientists and military leaders who had been established in 1947 to investigate the UFO phenomenon. Both the papers and the Majestic 12 group of which they spoke were ultimately disregarded by the FBI as nothing but a hoax when they investigated the claims. They pointed to certain things such as how the date was written, and even how the documents were worded as being proof they were not genuine or authentic official papers. If the documents are to be believed, however, and there is an avalanche of supporting testimony to suggest they are indeed genuine, then it would seem this was just the tip of the iceberg. Eisenhower's infamous meetings. Eisenhower went missing suddenly on the evening of February 20, 1954. There were rumors and fears quickly circulating that he may have died, to which the official response was that the president had had to undergo emergency dental work and was now recovering well. In reality, the president had been whisked off to an emergency meeting with an alien race said to be from the Pleiades star cluster. They are often referred to as the Nordics due to their blue eyes, blonde hair and pale skin. The meeting was said to have taken place at Edwards Air Force Base, in an empty hangar. Although the exact details of the talks are not fully known, it appears that the Nordics were offering help with technology, medical procedures and advancements, and a breakaway from fossil fuels for clean energy. However, a deal was not reached and the meeting was abandoned. According to the story, This is when a second alien race also made contact with Eisenhower and the leaders of the United States. Unlike the Nordics, however, the Greys managed to make a deal with the president, an abundance of technology given only to the United States. In return for access to members of the population, essentially the Greys had been given permission to abduct and experiment on citizens of the country before wiping their memories and returning them unharmed. Some say that Eisenhower was forced into making this deal, and point to the Cold War and the perceived ever-present threat of the Soviet Union. Assuming the story of contact is true, would the Greys have given this technology to the Russians and so tipping the balance of world power to them had the United States not agreed? Imagine for one moment that this was the agreement that had been reached and signed by Eisenhower, and you can start to understand why a country might want to keep quiet about allowing their own citizens to be abducted, by an alien race to boot, in exchange for technology and weapons. It wasn't, however, the last meetings that Eisenhower and his staff would have with aliens, as we will look at in a moment. The mission of Valiant Thor. In March 1957 in Alexandria, Virginia, a strange craft landed in a quiet field. It was witnessed by a policeman out on routine patrol. A man emerged from the craft and approached the officer, calmly claiming his name was Valiant Thor. He was an extraterrestrial who had been sent by the High Council, and he requested that he might speak with President Eisenhower. The policeman took Thor to the Pentagon, where he did eventually speak with Eisenhower, as well as the Secretary of Defense and other Joint Chiefs. According to the story, Thor was given a 3-year VIP status where he conducted numerous meetings with persons of high influence in the United States government. His mission was to voice concerns that the High Council had over the way humanity was evolving. In particular, its apparent lust for nuclear weaponry. Whether Valiant Thor is from the same race of aliens as the Nordics, who allegedly first met Eisenhower 3 years earlier, is open to debate. The story is known to us via the book Stranger in the Pentagon by Frank Stranger. Pictures have emerged of the alleged Thor. No one has come forward to debunk or discredit them. Project Penguin and the Mysterious Nine. Valiant Thor's apparent mission from the High Council is interesting in itself, particularly when secret government experiments in 1952 concerning channeling of non-physical beings called Project Penguin appeared to have made contact with a similar group. The experiments were led by Dr. Henry Puharich, who had enticed many notable mediums and psychics to take part in them. One of these was Indian mystic, Dr. Vinod, who not only took part in the experiments, but made contact with an entity that referred to itself as the Nine. The Nine, it said through Vinod, were an eternal presence who watched over mankind and had done so since the beginning of time. Eventually, when asked of his name, the spirit replied, "I am Atom." Research quickly revealed that Atom was the name of the father god of ancient Egypt. One of 9 of the creator gods of the ancient Egyptian society. Had Vinod really made contact with the presumed mythical Ened who were worshipped at Heliopolis? Also where the pharaoh would make contact with these ancient beings for guidance on how to lead his people? This consulting or worshipping of 9 gods is also replicated in cultures throughout the ancient world. For example, the Aztecs worshipped a group of 9 lords of the night, while the Buddhist religion also speaks of 9 unknown men. Norse and Etruscan cultures have further legends of 9 mysterious beings offering guidance and wisdom, and perhaps most famously of all is the ancient Greek legends of Zeus, who led 9 gods who would at times intervene in human affairs. Puharich appeared to continue his work at his private New York estate, forming the Round Table Foundation in 1958. He attracted people such as writers, inventors and notable businessmen, all who wished to make contact with the Nine and seek its wisdom. Perhaps most notably of these is Gene Roddenberry, who went on to create and write the sci-fi show Star Trek. Might he have received some of his information from the mysterious ancient beings? Is the title of the Star Trek movie Deep Space Nine also just a coincidence? Perhaps more importantly, might Valiant Thor have been sent to meet with Eisenhower on the Nine's behalf? the same 9 who had guided such great societies as ancient Egypt and ancient Greece. Eisenhower's great-granddaughter. Further revelations. Eisenhower's great-granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, doesn't doubt that any of these meetings went ahead. When she was asked about her great-grandfather's experience, she stated that these meetings took place against a backdrop of a world that most of us don't realize existed. She states that the Second World War was still being fought behind the scenes, and that such things as Operation Paperclip were just a part of that scenario. She also cited the aforementioned Admiral Richard Byrd, and his apparent battle with Nazi UFOs in Antarctica. It's like there is this whole other reality going on that we don't hear about. She stated, these timelines and the deeper history connected to secret societies, connected to these deeper ET agendas that have been around for thousands of years. The deal that was made with the Greys led to the secret space programs, of which she claims she has had many dealings, and of which there are an increasing amount of whistleblowers speaking out about their own involvement. Perhaps Laura Eisenhower's assessment of how history might judge her great-grandfather's apparent decision to sign a treaty with an alien race in return for technology, a decision that in reality will have been his in name only, is actually very true when she says, I would say that he was instrumental in warning us about the military-industrial complex. Former Canadian Defence Minister, Paul Hillier, talking openly on RT News about such meetings and deals that have taken place between world leaders and extraterrestrial races. He is arguably the highest-ranking official who has made such blunt claims, and much of what he says echoes Laura Eisenhower's comments about the power and influence of the military-industrial complex, and whether that might be the real danger we all face.